Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. What a crazy Sunday of sport we've had. An unbelievable Premier League final day. The Barcelona Grand Prix, that was hectic. A crazy CSGO Major Grand Final. We got to enjoy the Paris Legion versus the Los Angeles Guerrillas today. What a time it is to be a Call of Duty fan. But generally, some incredible series. OpTic versus FaZe, the big one today, the big storyline. So we're going to dive into that one. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Definitely a good time to subscribe because I'm sure the talking points the next few days are going to be spicy nonetheless. We'll talk about Toronto versus New York right at the end of the video. Scrappy, TacticalRab, or whatever you want to call him, stepping in for that series. Well, just to reiterate the point if you guys didn't get the picture already. Now let's talk about the first series, LAG versus Paris. This honestly was, I called it kind of one of the blow it up balls earlier today. I thought that, okay, LAG, they should have enough. Like, come on, if you're losing to Paris, it's just tragic. But honestly, Paris, if anything, they just know that they're terrible. Okay, they know they're terrible within reason. And it feels like to a degree, they're just kind of having a good time. Like, Donny Temp here was just having a great time in the comms. And honestly, this map one, I feel like suits Paris probably better than it does the Guerrillas. And in fairness, John and Jimmer had great maps here, at least kind of by what we've seen from them recently, right? And if those guys turn up, there's generally a decent chance this team does something. As Gravity and Temp are putting up good numbers lately, right? So if they have good performances from their SMGs, this team can be competitive. They win the game one. Game two is a bounce back, though. Gunless goes pretty big in the search and destroy with the sniper early on. They close out this one, I believe, 6-4. Pretty close affair. They certainly needed to win this map. And then game three, Gavutu Control goes the way of the Paris Legion. They're honestly not bad at this map at all, especially on the defense is. And Los Angeles Guerrillas, their offense is, well, they've pretty much been hopeless all season long. So Guerrillas take this defense, they take the final round as well. That is enough for them to take a 2-1 edge in the series. But, well, Los Angeles Guerrillas, they do pretty well on the Tuscan hardpoint. They bring that one back and, well, win a relatively comfortable game right here. John and Jimbo do seem to kind of be due a, bad map at least once a series, so they have a tough time. It goes to game 5, and Los Angeles Guerrillas just about to get over the line 6-4, I believe. It was a very close fought affair. Los Angeles Guerrillas, really, like a series like this, as they say, obviously they were in a bit of a losing streak yesterday. How to end one, you've got to play against the Paris Legion. This is, in fairness, a strategy for some of these teams, right? We've seen some teams so far this season that have struggled. They play Paris, they get some momentum after a victory, and then they, start to make a bit of a comeback. Still, on this performance from Guerrillas, don't really have that much faith in them, but it is an extra 10 points, which are honestly, that 10 points may be critical as the season progresses in terms of World Championship qualifications. Or on the back of that, they're probably still okay, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, Paris, they're still stuck on 20 right now. Tough time for them. But honestly, it's a classic story across the board. But you got to give Donny Temp his shout outs, really, because 14,000 damage from this guy. Like, I remember back in Black Ops 4, and probably Black Ops 4 was his best ever COD. Like, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 4, this game, honestly, is right up there. And he had 14,000, like, every single series in Black Ops 4, he'd have the most damage. He was topping all the damage stats the entire season long, and he has 106 kills. Like, Crimsix had to say that he reckons this guy's just playing for kills, but, like, he's obviously a very good player. Like, there's been some talk about maybe the return of Donny Temp to Los Angeles Thieves is what they need. But again, a difficult series here for Asim. He drops a 0.79, but still, they just about get over the line. But again, the respawns weren't pretty. Not a good sign for LAG, I don't think, going forward when you have a series like this up against the Paris guys. And as Zero says, Donny Temp is too good, 14,000 damage. These teams were certainly having a mid-off. Mid maybe implying middle of the pack, which certainly isn't the case at the present time. Let's dive into this series then to OpTic versus FaZe. The 5th time these teams have matched up so far this year. I thought, look, can FaZe finally get over this mental block that seems to be affecting them? They've lost already this season to 2 different OpTic lineups, the one with Illy, the one with General. Now they would play the one with Prolute, right? This team with Prolute seems to be better than, of course, the one with General in, but still, was it going to be enough to win a series like this? I thought FaZe, their search and destroy has been looking better. Like, they're surely going to take one respawn off OpTic, therefore game 5 seems to be on the cards. FaZe, can the clutch factor be there? There was a bit of a question mark to me. I thought it would go game 5. I thought FaZe might have the edge. I thought this could be the final series for them to break their kind of mental block they seem to have against OpTic and get over the line, especially this Prolute team that's clearly right now proluting the OpTic guys playing right now with no pressure really. If they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. They've got a substitute at the end of the day. But honestly, if anything, they put the pressure on FaZe to perform well. And as I said earlier today, if you want to beat FaZe, you've got to hope or force some of the players outside of Cellium to drop an Amber Heard. That was kind of some interesting phrasing you guys were commenting on, but effectively that's what exactly happened in this series. So game 1, well, at least looking at the map set early on, I thought this was rather interesting because certainly I thought this was okay for OpTic, but it has been a thought process really that Berlin hardpoint has not been their strongest hardpoint so far this year, right? And they decide to go for the option here. Seems like Desert Siege, they don't really want to risk, but again, certainly a Berlin hardpoint as early part of the year, like it was definitely one of OpTic's struggle maps, and they thought they were getting better significantly through stage 2. Seems to be one of the more comfort picks nowadays. Certainly how things turned out in this series. Game 1, honestly, Prolute was such a monster this entire series. Like the first part of this game 1, it was everyone else but Prolute who was going off. It seemed like Prolute was effectively the initiator, right? He was just doing what it takes for the team to succeed around him, kind of the Illy role. And then all of a sudden, Prolute goes on this crazy 7-8 streak, gets them right back in the game, gets streaks, and this was honestly the catalyst to getting them over the line in this game. Goes down to a final P1, which is very hectic indeed, but just about to close it out. So honestly, this map suits OpTic rather nicely because Scump on the auto is just so good. Like, he's consistently a 1.4, 1.5 player on this map, it seems, with the kind of auto in hands. And when the rest of the team are playing like they were, and Shotzi was just dominating this map, which is so hard to do a lot of the time with the SMG, like, FaZe really didn't have a chance. Simp goes double negative, Arcitys goes double negative. I mean, look at these stats right here. You don't see often Simp and Arcitys going, you know, 17 in 31, 15 in 27 respectively. Like, I mean, honestly, FaZe, they had kept this map relatively close, given that stat line, there's no doubt. Then game 2, early on, it started out pretty well. Simp versus Prelude had a nice little 1v1, and Prelude clutches it up right. This guy, honestly, has been so good for OpTic so far. I feel like he fits what they need so well, just in that illy position. He's obviously finding it so easy to step into this team as well, and FaZe early on, they were on the back foot. A 3-1 disadvantage, but kind of classic OpTic in a way. They let it go from 3-1 to 5-3 in favour of FaZe before winning one round. And then honestly, I've got to give some credit to FaZe the way they played some of these retakes. It was really interesting strategies they used. There was like 10 seconds on the clock. They would, well, take it very late indeed to actually hop on the bomb, but their positioning was perfect. Their timings were great. I'm sure it's something they've worked on with Tupac, for example, their S&D analyst, because he's got a great mind for kind of timings and ideas like that in search and destroy, and they kind of use that to their advantage. They kind of, OpTic probably messed up a few of those clutch situations they could have played differently. So a 1-1 series it was at the end of this one. 4-6 loss in Bakaj. I thought, okay, you know, this is kind of how I expected it to go. FaZe are going to win one of the next 2 respawns. It's going to be a game 5. It's going to be a barn burner, Tuscan search and destroy. We'll see. But all of a sudden then, it really was just OpTic that turned up the heat. This is something that no team in the game outside of maybe FaZe on their day has the ability to do, is just outslay a team so dramatically for like several minutes in a row. That's exactly what happened in this game. FaZe won a pretty confident game 1 actually, or round 1 in this map, and then all of a sudden, Dashy's here on the B site, popping 3 pieces like this, gets the first, slides back out, kills Cellium, kills aBeZy at the window as well. No trades there at all for the FaZe guys, and when this happens, and well, Dashy's on a 4 streak, it seems like the end is kind of nigh. They win this offensive round, they take the defense, they take the final round as well. aBeZy had some nice plays right here to try and keep them alive in this map, but honestly, it proved not to be enough because Prelude, towards the end of this game, absolutely demolished them. Like, he ended this map, I'm pretty sure, with like a 2.5 KD. He was on a crazy streak. Like, the stats we'll see here at the end of the series. That's the thing with Prelude. It's not just that he's kind of facilitating the rest of the squads, but he can actually have his maps, not just in the search and destroy, but in the respawns as well, where he goes on a 6-7 streak, 28 and 11 he was at this point in the game, and that's easily enough for them to close out, right? And Prelude understandably very happy, because he steps in, like, you know, how often do you see Illy do that in his role? Like, it's not particularly often you see Illy have a performance like that, a takeover map, and I'm sure there are going to be questions about Illy's actual return, right, as the time progresses. But yeah, this is a massive map 3 for them. Honestly, the slaying from OpTic when they're on form is just absolutely brutal, and FaZe looks completely lost at times, to be honest. They look shell-shocked about the fact that they were just getting run over so easily, it seems. And then honestly, the game 4, this was early on the Shotzi show. He has a phenomenal early set of rotations. OpTic build up a, you know, 50-point lead pretty much from the get-go, and they pretty much maintain that throughout the entirety of the rest of the game and win this series as well. Like, as I said, I thought this was going to go game 5. I thought FaZe had a chance to get over the line, but the way they got bodied the last few maps just shows to me that FaZe, honestly, they just don't have what it takes against this OpTic team right now. OpTic just have another gear they can step into, and even then in their search and destroy, they made a few mistakes, right? They could have won this series more convincingly than they did, but every single respawn was pretty comfortable, it must be said. There wasn't really an occasion, especially on this map 4 and even the map 3 as well, where I thought FaZe were in with a shout of winning it. So, unbelievable performance from the OpTic guys, it's got to be said, and the fact that they're doing this with their substitute in Prelude just goes to show this team, like, you know, the firepower, the chemistry, and honestly, the pacing and the teamwork and the communication is all firing on all cylinders right now. Even the second best team in the game, Atlanta FaZe, could really not put up too much of a fight this series. Now, 0 in 5 against OpTic so far this year. As Scump says, GG's FaZe 1-3-1, 3-0 on stage 3. Of course, that was massively important for them. They play New York, they play Los Angeles Thieves next. Certainly going to be favourites in those 2 series after what has gone down this evening. And as Dashy says, you know, misplayed some clutches in the search and destroy, right? Saying immediately, like, look, we played great in the respawns. Even he describes them as solid, right? So, like, okay, yeah, we played okay. Nothing special, though. But, yeah, they believe even in their search and destroy, they can get even better. So, a scary sign, no doubt. Like, this OpTic team seems, honestly, with the fact that Prelude is dropping the numbers he's dropping, like, at times, this team seems scarier than the one with Illy. Like, I can't lie. That is kind of how it seems to go. And, you know, I just wanted to mention this actually real quick, because it seemed like after the kind of the interview was going down here with Prelude, that, well, possibly being like, because of course, Prelude, I guess, was signed on a 2-week contract. Maybe now saying they're like, look, Prelude's going to be, you know, here for a long period of time. We're going to extend his contract. Illy might not be coming back immediately. And honestly, even if Illy's not coming back immediately, he's even wearing his jersey right here. Like, you know, it's obviously not affecting them too poorly at the present time. Definitely wanted to share this clip actually as well that came up from Astro at the Hex quarters after the victory, because what the OpTic guys say in this clip I thought was rather insightful. They can't beat us. They can't beat us. Effectively, OpTic feel like they're in FaZe's heads right now. Understandably, Arcitys frustrated with the kind of the spawn situation that was going on there, but Prelude was well taking full advantage of it. And look at these series stats. You don't see this often between teams of the caliber of OpTic and FaZe. They outslayed by, okay, what is this? 38, 52, 68 kills they outslayed by over the course of this series. That is absurd. Arcitys has a 0.61. aBeZy and Simp combined for like, 0.77 KD or something, 0.78 KD. Like, that's not something you see every day. Cellium only a 1.04. I'd usually dropping a 1.3. But just look at this. Prelude's got a 1.4. Dashy, Shotsy, Scump, like, they just handled business with them with Atlanta FaZe, which is not something that is easily said. So here we go, the final series of the day. I expected this to be a banger, to be honest, and go the distance. It did exactly that. I thought the winner would be different, but honestly, New York to the kind of a classic New York thing here in this game 5. But yes, Scrappy was in the team. Honestly, substitutes this season are really making a name for themselves, right? Scrappy this series was out of control. He was lights out game 4, game 5 especially. He was the best performer, MVP of this series on the Toronto side. Certainly making a case for him, like if he's not in this team, to be in other teams in the league. No doubt about it at all. Game 1 was kind of crazy, actually. Ultra had a massive lead early on here in Gavutu. Then Subliners turn it around towards the ends, 250 to 205. This game 1 as well. Look at this scoreboard from the Ultra side. Scrappy, like, Cammy had a monster series as well. Maybe he was actually the MVP. Kind of tough to say. But a Bance and CleanX, like, I mean, look at this. They're both, like, double negative here. Crimsix actually goes to 1.24. Game 3, though, was, well, not in that favour. Game 2, it's actually Subliners that, will fall short on this one. Ultra, their Search and Destroy was looking very good. It is impressive, I tend to find, with a new team that comes through with the substitutes, that they can make their Search and Destroy look rather good rather quickly. And that, I'm sure, has been Subliners' main focus, because they've been, well, killing in all the respawns, but you're not always going to win all the respawns in a series. And when you don't, you're going to need to win a Game 5 Search and Destroy occasionally, which, as yet, this new Subliners team has failed to show that they can actually do. This, I mean, this was, like, some crazy stuff here. Like, so Fatman can get over the kind of box rights, and they end up taking him down. Toronto win this map. Game 3 was absurd. It was so similar, actually, to when these two teams played each other at the Pro-Am. New York won in a very similar fashion. There were some ridiculous rounds, to be honest, right here, but Subliners eventually hold on their defenses. They take it, well, in a Game 5 kind of classic fashion, all defenses, but it still was rather entertaining, especially this final map right here, final round, where CleanX was doing his best to make something happen, but in the end, it's Subliners that closed out. Hydra went huge, actually, towards the ends. But Crimsix, this map, goes 18 in 42. I don't know if that's the first 40 death bomb in control. It might be. I'm just wondering, like, the rest of his teammates possibly thinking, like, where are all our lives going? How come I'm popping 3 pieces every single life, and all of a sudden, like, we're still level on lives? How does this make any sense? Turns out Crimsix was going 18 in 42 for the win, in fairness. But, like, look, you can maybe get away with this in hardpoint, but in control, those deaths are very crucial, right? So Crimsix was kind of, I don't know what he was doing good times, to be honest. They win the map anyway. They go to a Berlin hardpoint, though. This is where Scrappy just came alive. I honestly don't know, with insight in the team, whether they win this map, just because the way Scrappy plays, the aggression he has, like, the ability he has to just take over games like this. Like, Inside is more of a player that's going to have lower engagements, right? Scrappy is playing, like, an incredibly fast pace, and it did seem to help this team, because at this point, he's, what, 16 and 17? He finishes this map, like, 38 and 26. He took over the second part of this game, takes on the map, and obviously, as Asim says, have to tip Scrappy, right? He's been playing absolutely disgusting lately, and, well, helps this team over the line in Game 5 as well. And Game 5 was a shambles. I'm pretty sure there's more to say on this from the Subliner side, the issues that they were having here in the Game 5, but they went up 3-0. It was looking so good for them. Scrappy gets a nice 2-piece to kind of keep them alive at 3-1, and then all of a sudden, it's 4-3, and Hydra's blowing himself up with the grenade. I think he must have been having some sort of issues here with his controller or PC, or something was going on, because this wasn't ideal at all. They lose the map. An incredibly important series for both of these teams, the way their standings are right now. This was an incredibly crucial victory, and 10 points to try and get for the Subliners. Not going to be the case at all. Massive talking points on this one, I'm sure, in the coming days. This is the only scoreboard I can give you guys, because as it is right now, the kind of full scoreboard isn't out yet, because kind of, well, when people leave the lobby, it creates a bit of a difficult scenario, but I'll share the full scoreboard for you guys tomorrow. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tells your YouTube gods this is a good video, and I was like, you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you much, as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.